Hi everybody, my name is Grace. I'm a teacher at Elite Dance Force, and today I'm here with Claire, another teacher at Elite Dance Force. She's new to the studio, so welcome, Claire. We're going to get talking a little bit about her experience as a professional dancer and her experience growing up and preparing for that. So Claire, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Grace. Thanks for having me. I am from Ann Arbor, Michigan, born and raised here, and then I went on to be a dance major at the University of Michigan. I danced at a studio all through growing up, and then in high school, I got really into musical theater, and so I became involved with Pioneer Theater Guild at my high school, Pioneer. And that just captivated my interest in musical theater and how dance can be outside of a studio and different types of performing. So yeah, I went on to be a dance major at Michigan, but I was still always very interested in musical theater, and I took a lot of classes actually through the musical theater school, dance classes. They're partnering in different styles with them. And all the while I was taking voice lessons on the side because I know how important it is to attempt to sing at least. I know it's scary for a lot of dancers, but yeah, and I've just continued up with that education, so now I kind of consider myself singer, actor, dancer. But yeah, Michigan dance major, and then on to New York after that.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your experience at the University of Michigan as a dance major.
I had a wonderful time there. So I started off as a double major, and a lot of dance majors at Michigan choose to do that route. They try to make it pretty accessible if you're still interested in academics to be able to do both. And often it takes people more than 4 years because of all the requirements from your different degrees. So I started off as a biology major as well because I was really interested in school. I loved learning. I loved science. I thought I was going to be a marine biologist. I don't know how I was going to have a career as a dancer and a biologist, but you know, I started college and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I loved it. And then it came to a point where I kind of had to make a decision, like, do I want to stay 5 years? No, I didn't. After my first year as a dance major, I did the Lines Ballet program in the summer. It was a 5-week-long summer intensive that completely changed my life and made me realize that I could pursue dance professionally and that I didn't necessarily need to have a fallback. So I got back to school the next fall and I was like, I don't want to be a biology major anymore. So I threw myself kind of headfirst into dance, but I was still really interested in school and more academic things. So I enrolled in the movement science department through kinesiology. So I ended up graduating with a minor in movement science, which I was really grateful for because that went hand in hand with being a dance major, learning more about how the body moves and the science behind movement. So yeah, I was able to still get my academics, but I graduated in 4 years. And with the department, there were so many opportunities for performing and for choreographing, and they always have a residency with other companies that come in and set work on you. So my freshman year, Galeem Dance Company from New York came and set a piece on us that I was an understudy for and ended up getting to perform in as well. And that was life-changing, just a completely different way of moving than I was used to. And it was incredible. That made me fall in love with improvisation. That was freshman year. Sophomore year, we had a company from London, I believe, somewhere overseas. It was the Richard Alston Dance Company. I think they're based in London. They came and set a work on us. I wasn't in it, but every company that comes teaches master classes. So we got to have experience with them. My junior year, it was Camille Brown that came, and she was amazing. She didn't come, I think she came when the piece was actually on its feet in the theater, but one of her dancers, Maite, came and set that on us. And Maite's classes were unbelievable. It was just every year the people that came gave us a new perspective on dancing and either New York or overseas, whatever that industry was like. But yeah, there were a lot of opportunities for people who wanted to perform a lot and a lot of choreographic opportunities. Michigan really emphasizes learning how to choreograph and giving you access to spaces and means of presenting your own work. So I think 3 out of my 4 years there, I presented my own original work at different shows, and that was incredible. Seniors have to choreograph their own concert. So by the time I was a senior and I had to fulfill my requirements for choreographing and producing my own show, I had already had a chance to do that.
That's awesome. So you mentioned dancing in New York. What type of opportunities did you have while you were in New York City?
That's a loaded question. There are literally anything you want to do in New York. There's options for you. So for people like me who just can't sit still, sometimes it's overwhelming because you have concert dance, you have commercial dance, you have musical theater. And when I first got to the city, I wanted to do everything. Mm-hmm. I had just done a 3-week-long dance intensive with the company Doug Verone and Dancers. And I was in love with them. They had come, 2 of their dancers had come to do a residency with us my senior year. And they got me really interested in the style of movement that Doug Verone does with his company. So I did that 3-week intensive and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I want to be a company dancer. Like, I'm still interested in musical theater, but first I want to be a company dancer. So I got there and I was auditioning for everything, which was just insane because it's exhausting. Auditioning is exhausting. But I think the second month I was there in September, I had moved in July. By September, I had gotten a job with a small modern company called LL Moves. The choreographer, Lindsay, does a lot of project-based works. So it's not like a contract that she has. It's just every time she has a performance opportunity, she hires the same dancers, and you get paid for the performance. But it was great right off the bat to have performing opportunities, because I think the scariest part about graduating was not knowing when I was going to be on stage again. You know, in college, you're kind of guaranteed performances every year, but then when you graduate, there's no guarantee anymore. So I was really thankful to have those performing opportunities with her. That was my first year, and all the while I was still auditioning for musical theater. I was taking classes in modern, ballet, jazz, there are so many different studios in the city. You can take commercial styles, you can take musical theater classes, you can take the kind of college dance modern styles. Mm-hmm. So I did that. After my first year, I got signed with CESD Talent Agency across the board for their dance field. So my agents would send me in for print modeling that needed dancers. They would send me in for commercials that needed dancers, but also musical theater gigs, film, TV, anything that needed dance, just not company. So my agents only represent everything besides company dancers. So I got signed with them, and I instantly was like, I don't want to do a company work right now. I just want to go headfirst into musical theater. I had gotten into a lot of final callbacks for musicals that I was really interested in. So it gave me hope that it was attainable at some point. And my agents had my back every step of the way. I spent the whole next year just auditioning mostly. I had some random tiny little performing gigs come up because there's always choreographers in New York who are looking for dancers for like a one-night gig as a backup dancer for a singer at a bar type of thing. So I had those small gigs, and then by the end of my second year there, I think I had booked Jonas Brothers' music video for Only Human. And that was amazing because that was my first gig that I had booked with my agents. And I had been with them for around a year, and I was getting worried, not worried, but I was like, okay, I've been with them for a year. I want them to still want to have me on their roster. You know, I felt like I needed something to show for it. Mm-hmm. It does take a long time in the city because it's just the competition is crazy. But that was an amazing first job. It was a 14-hour day on set. Oof. With the Jonas Brothers in the East Village. We filmed it at a little bar. Was it a bar? Yeah, it was a bar that they had converted with they had brought in all their decorations to deck it out like the 80s. So we were there all day long, and it honestly just felt like summer camp. It was so much fun. It was a lot of sitting around, a lot of shoots on set for videos, TV, film, it's a lot of sitting and waiting. But then the instant they need you, like, you have to turn it on. So that was amazing. And then about 2 months after that, I booked a couple more jobs that were conflicting with one another. So I had to make a decision, and I ended up choosing Footloose at the Kennedy Center, which was my first equity musical theater job. Incredible experience. Ever since I moved to the city and wanted to do musical theater, I've been wanting to join the Equity Association. It's the union for stage performers, essentially. So Footloose gave me my equity card, and it also gave me the best job I've had to date. It was at the Kennedy Center in DC. We only did 8 shows. It was super quick, 2 weeks of rehearsals, 1 week of shows, then it was done. But it was an incredible opportunity. The choreographer, Spencer Liff, is just incredible to work with. I had worked with him previously, so it was great to see him again and to have that opportunity. And the cast was amazing too. It was the best first theater job I could have asked for.
Yeah, so you're mentioning different styles within here, and I'd love for you to like talk about a little bit like what's concert dance versus commercial dance versus musical theater.
Mm-hmm. So concert dance is typically what's considered dance company style. So a lot of college programs will emphasize modern and more classical styles that companies would present in their work on stage. Some companies are definitely more commercialized, meaning they're tailored more towards the mass audiences and for TV. Any companies that you'd probably see on shows like America's Got Talent and Best Dance Crew and things like that, those I would consider more commercial style companies. But for the most part, companies that present work on stage and that tour, that have their own seasons, are concert dance styles. It's a little bit more abstract, I would say. I think there is some kind of distance for certain audiences. I think some people find it less accessible to the mass, which is part of being a high art form, is not always having that immediate access to people.
Yeah, it's like a more abstract art type.
Yeah, a little bit more abstract, a little bit less like story based. Or I mean, even if there is a story there, it's not always as in your face. This is what this is about. It's more like modern art. So that's what I would consider concert dance. Company dance, same thing. Commercial dance is more suited towards the mass audiences. So TV, film, music videos, those companies that I mentioned that are more on screen. And then musical theater is kind of a hybrid of everything. Especially now, musical theater dance is changing a lot. It used to be, back in the golden days of theater, it was very ballet based. It was very Agnes DeMille, Oklahoma, those golden age musicals that you think of are very rooted in ballet. Then it's transformed over the years, and now you have shows like Hamilton, which are very, very groovy, very commercial styles. And I think that's wonderful. I think any kind of dance can tell a story, and people are putting that more on stage with every kind of dance. So that is why I love musical theater, because it's not just one style anymore. It's storytelling. It's using all kinds of movements to further a storyline. And yeah, musical theater.
Yeah. Yeah. So are there certain like regions or cities within the United States that have more of one type of dance versus the other? It sounds like New York City has like a mix of everything, but elsewhere in the country. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, New York definitely does have a mix of everything. It's very much more geared towards concert dance and musical theater. But like I mentioned, you do have commercials being shot there, videos being shot there. I would say LA is more commercial based, although they kind of have everything too. The theater scene is going strong in LA. Although Hollywood is there, there's a lot more TV and film being produced there. And just the dance studios in general in LA they're a different vibe. They're more I don't want to say more performative, but there is less musical theater dance class opportunities in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to describe. The vibes at the studios in New York are very different from LA. Neither one is better than the other. It depends on the preference of the dancer. I think
Hmm.
in the classes in LA are more, there's more of an emphasis on being called out and being the front and center of the video. A lot of classes in LA are captured on camera. And I think, not to say the point of class is to be featured in the video. That's not the point of class there, but there is more of an emphasis in LA dance studios on being in the video.
Mm-hmm.
New York, it is kind of moving in that direction as well. A lot of classes do get captured on camera, and it's a great way to learn how to still be yourself when there's a camera floating in the room. But the emphasis is more on the class environment and learning versus performing for the camera.
Got it.
But
So
I
it sounds
think
a little bit of like the modern art versus like a little bit more performative. Is that sort of what I'm hearing?
yeah, performative, and New York is definitely a little more storytelling based because you have Broadway right there.
Right.
But they're both kind of blending now, and one of them is not just commercial anymore, and one of them is not just theater. They're both a mix of everything now. But typically, dancers who go to LA are more trying for film and TV, and yeah.
Besides New York and LA, is there anything in the middle, or is it mostly just like those two hubs?
Well, having lived in New York for the past 3 years, I feel like everyone I meet there is either fully New York, fully LA, or bi-coastal. Like, those are the two big cities that everyone talks about. But there are so many opportunities in the middle. Chicago is a great dance city. I don't really know what is happening right now because Hubbard Street was a major company there, but their studio is no longer around because of the pandemic. Yeah, so a lot of really sad things have been happening since the pandemic. But Chicago is still a major city for dance. San Francisco, Miami, there's amazing ballet companies all over the country. There's a great modern dance company in Salt Lake City, Utah. Ryrie Woodbury is the name. So yeah, there are definitely places for dancers all across the country. Just the major hubs that people go to and talk about and are most populated are the coast to coast, New York and Los Angeles.
Got it. So are there certain types of dancers that are best suited for like one or over the other, or is it just preference?
Yeah, I think it's a misconception that you have to look a certain way to be a concert dancer and you have to look a certain way to be a commercial dancer. I think it really does boil down to preference. And
of the dancer.
Preference of the dancer and how you perceive yourself. There's no right way to be one or the other. I think commercial dance is generally, these are all generalizations, generally more like trick based and like flashy, because think about it, if you're on camera, you have 2 seconds to capture someone's attention because Americans' attention spans for commercial are very small these days. Concert dance, you generally see less tricks, more, like we were saying earlier, more abstract forms and different ways of experimenting with movement. That doesn't mean one can't be the other, like there can't be crossover, that's not what I'm saying. But I think generally the dancers who pursue commercial dance over concert dance like that kind of flashy, like capturing your attention type of movement.
Right.
So you don't have to look a certain way. It's all about your attitude towards it.
Towards the dance. Yeah, that's awesome.
And also hip hop is definitely more, you see more of that in commercial dance.
Good to know. Good to know. What's your biggest piece of advice for aspiring dancers who would like to have a career in dance?
Yeah, it's not easy. You have to have thick skin. I will say that. Anyone can chase after it, and you can always be honing your craft. You can always be improving your technique and your skill. If you want it badly enough, you will find a way to make it happen. You just have to keep persistent because everyone's timeline is different. Some people come right out of college and immediately start booking work and are consistently working forever. That's not common. That's not everyone's journey, but I do have friends who have been, since college, have been booking a Broadway show after Broadway show, and they're just, that's their career now. My journey was not like that. I have friends also who are still auditioning for that first job, and I know that it's going to happen for them because they're amazing, they're hardworking, they're nice people. So yeah, have thick skin and keep chasing after it and be nice. A lot of jobs are not based on talent. I mean, everything is based on talent, but you get to a certain point and everyone is talented. So right. What's going to set you apart? How do you work as a person? Are you easy to work with? Are you nice? Are you patient? Do you take notes? Everything is beneficial to you in terms of making friends with people and being able to keep those connections. I've had friends who didn't book work because a previous stage manager didn't like her attitude in a show. And when it's down to you and someone else for a job, they're going to call the people that you've worked with in the past. And if your stage manager from your previous job can say, yes, she was amazing to work with, I would hire her back, that's going to book you the job over the person that was like, well, you know, she was really talented, but like there was this one instant where she was, you know, X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. So attitude really is everything. Yeah. Are you easy to work with? Are you nice? Are you generous?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Claire. I really appreciate it. If somebody has questions, where can they go? Can they find you on Instagram or?
Yeah, Instagram at claire.kraus, I think. Might just be Claire Kraus. My name. Just look me up.
Awesome.
I'll be around the studio, and yeah, happy to answer any questions. I am by no means the best example for anything. Like I said, there's so many different ways to approach a career as a dancer, but I do have 3 years of experience grinding it out in the city, so I can definitely speak to that aspect of the business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Claire. I really appreciate your time.